Hey, this is Nikki with the Mandel Public Library of West Palm Beach, and this week we are doing quilling. I know, what is quilling? Well, quilling basically is the art form of taking strips of paper like these and shaping them like this to make a really cool artwork like this. We'll be doing our initials and also this abstract piece in the video. So, get your supplies together. What are you waiting for? Let's do it.
Let's gather our supplies. 8.5 by 11 inch color copy paper, a ruler, a pair of scissors, some glue, a pencil, some tweezers, some skewers, some toothpicks. Look at that organizer already. I also have pre-cut some strips in different sizes and colors. Here's all the supplies. You will also need some clear tape, just to tape your toothpicks together. This is how we're going to make our quilling tool. Now online you could purchase quilling tool kits, which would have a very special tool to do our quilling, but this is what I have at home. So I took the toothpicks, taped 3 of them together, and made my tool. Now I'm going to proceed with measuring my 8.5 by 11 colored copy paper, a 1/4 inch on the width of the paper. I'm going to do that on both ends. And then I'm going to take my ruler and basically draw a line from each end to make my strips of paper. So once again, from the top to the bottom, go ahead and draw every single line on your paper. Let me move this out of the way and let's get to it. Go ahead, start drawing. Here is my finished piece of paper with all the lines on it, all measured out to 1/4 inch. I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut each strip. Now, to make this faster, if you happen to have a paper trimmer or cutter at home, you could cut these strips on that kind of a cutting device. Or if you had a paper shredder, you could run paper through a paper shredder and get strips of paper too. Just keep in mind that when you're doing your quilling piece, you should use all the same width of the strips. So here I've already cut several pieces. You can also change that width. This here is measured out to 1/2 inch. So same procedure, take and mark your paper at 1/2 inch all the way across both ends and draw your lines. And proceed with cutting. Alright, now I take the bundles of papers as I'm cutting them. I try to make plenty of strips ahead of time before I start my project. So here, let's get down to quilling. Quilling is basically rolling paper up into a spiral or a coil and making different shapes from that. So I'm going to start off here and showing you, you put the paper between the toothpicks, try to keep it lined up, and spin the toothpicks to create your coils. This coil is a tight coil, so we're going to keep it as tight as possible, and then we're going to glue that end. Don't forget to put your glue in your dish ahead of time. Not like I did here. And I use another skewer to dab glue onto all my coiled pieces. So fold the tab back at the end of the coil. Just put a little touch of glue on there, and it just needs a little bit. Fold it over and fold it over and press and hold for a minute or less, and you have a tight coil. Alright, let's go to another shape. Once again, let's coil a strip of paper with our toothpick. Spinning and spinning, round and round. Try to keep it in line. Pull it off the toothpicks. This time I'm going to let it open up a little bit and do a loose coil. I'm going to fold my tab over a little bit and add a touch of glue. A little too much. Wipe some of that off. Glue it down and hold it. And this is a loose coil. Can you see the difference? Let's keep going. Make another coil. Spin, spin, spin. You'll get better and better the more you make. I'm going to open this one up all the way. Going to glue the tab down. This one's quite open. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make a teardrop from this. I'm going to touch some glue in between the spirals of the coil. And I'm going to push that center portion downward. And I'm going to give it a little pinch on the end. And this is going to make a nice teardrop. Just give a little bit of adjustment if you need. You can even take your tweezers and give it a good pinch. So now we have a teardrop, a loose coil, and a tight coil. Let's keep going. So many different shapes you can make. Opening this coil up, put a little glue on it, folding it over, hold it for a second, and I'm going to pinch each end and make what they call a marquee shape. The marquee shape also reminds me of an eye. Keep going. Sometimes they get a little crazy and, well, toss that one. Okay, let's do another one. We're speeding this up. So on this one, I'm going to make a scroll. I'm going to do one direction on one end and the opposite direction on the other. Kind of gives you the shape of an S. And on this one, I'm going to roll both ends in the same direction and then give it a little pinch at the bottom to make a cute little heart. This one here, I'm going to just coil one end and leave a long piece. You could take a pencil also and do quilling with that too. It'll make the center of your quills or your coils quite round. So as you can see, I've made a lot of different shapes. Here's that flower I showed you last week. So the center is a tight quill. Each petal is a teardrop. Let me find that. There it is. Each petal would be a teardrop. The stem is some quilling paper, just folded over and over and over. And then the leaves are the pieces that are just coiled on one end, and you apply glue to all of that, put it together, and this is on a canvas board. Alright, let's go to something different. Cut a 4x4 inch piece of cardstock, and then we're going to take another 1 inch strip of cardstock and make a circle. Using binder clips and paper clips, you can hold these together. So I've made 2 circles. The glue's basically dry, and I'm going to shape that into kind of like a teardrop. This is going to give us our mold for our abstract piece we're going to make. So after making 2 teardrops, sorry about that, 2 teardrops, we're going to place them on there with glue. Just dab it on the edges and place that on your 4x4 piece of cardstock. And the same thing on the other side. We're going to start quilling and making different shapes and designs and inserting them into this template. As you can see on the right side, I've already made one of these. That one's a little bit bigger than the one we're currently making. My quilling tool this time is actually a skewer. I have split the end of the skewer very carefully with a pair of scissors. Ask an adult to help you if you need. This way it puts a little slit there and you can slide these larger pieces into the bamboo skewer. I've added glue to the other ends and some of the sides, and I'm placing all my pieces inside the template, making different shapes, different sizes, different colors, and everything here is measuring to a 1 inch strip of quilling paper. Dab that glue. Where am I? Oh, there. There it goes. Alright. So I have lots of different colors. You can get packs of color copy paper at your local home office supply stores or any kind of place that sells paper. Even the craft store has really great paper packs. And this is copy paper, so it's really easy to use and really soft. When you're doing it with cardstock, it's a little bit thicker and it takes a little bit more energy to do a quill. So in this case, I wanted to try something a little bit different. I had some space in between on the abstract piece that I thought, well, let's just try something different and not twirl these, but cut little strips of paper. So since we are using a 1 inch template, I cut strips of paper at 2 inches and then folded them over. So go ahead and cut 2 inch pieces of paper, fold them over, and you're going to make little tiny strips of paper like this. This takes some time to fold them off. So on each piece, I'm going to put a dab of glue and start laying them on top of each other. I was looking to get this to be just like a little bit of confetti kind of feel. It is optional, you don't have to do this. So see, it's like a little fan. Fan them out a little bit, and then I'm going to stick them into the actual abstract piece, right in between there and there. They didn't make too much of a difference, so I'm not too worried about it. So let's finish up with making lots of different coils and different shapes. Spinning the paper, opening up the coil, dabbing some glue, and make a marquee shape. Pinch each end, and if the center needs to be adjusted, just go ahead and adjust that with your skewer. You can sometimes go back in and spin the middle again. Dab the glue on the end and place it in your template. Let's just make a whole bunch of these. Here I grabbed some more colors to add in. Making lots of different shapes and different designs gives your piece a lot of texture in it. I think I'm going to use these yellow ones. Make a little heart. Another way you can do this is also just taking the piece, coil it, and you can dab it into the glue itself. So close the tab and tap it in the glue a little bit. This was our last piece, so that made that easy. There it is. So here are the two different abstracts that I made, and I'm actually going to frame one. I got this box frame. It's a shadow box. Take it apart, place my piece inside. Closed it all up, and makes a beautiful piece of art for your wall.
Well, wasn't that great? We made art out of rolling up little pieces of paper. This here is the box frame that I framed at the end of the video, and you can pick up one of these at your local craft store. Now, I have exciting news. Next week, we are going to be bringing art to the kitchen with a little bit of science and a little bit of fun. So we're going to be making our own watercolors. I know, your own watercolors. So I'll see you next week right here at the Mandel Public Library of West Palm Beach.